Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today, we're plunging headfirst into a really fascinating topic: the explosive growth of the virtual reality and tourism market. If you're looking for a shortcut to understanding a rapidly expanding segment that is fundamentally reshaping how we explore the world, well, you're absolutely in the right place. We've got a comprehensive market research report from Cognitive Market Research guiding our journey today.
And our mission for this deep dive is pretty clear. We're going to unpack the significant numbers behind this digital transformation of travel. We want to understand the key growth drivers across different regions and ultimately grasp the profound implications for how we experience tourism.
Okay, let's unpack this right now because the numbers are just staggering. They really tell a powerful story. In 2021, the global market for VR and tourism stood at nearly $6 billion. Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. It's projected to surge to over $43 billion by 2033. That's growing at an impressive 18.03% annually. I mean, that's not just growth, that's a meteoric rise.
It really is. And what's fascinating here is not just this sheer scale of those numbers, but what they suggest about a fundamental shift. A shift in how we might engage with destinations in the future. This explosion isn't just about cool new tech. It seems to be fueled by increasing VR headset accessibility, the post-pandemic craving for unique and safe travel experiences.
Yeah.
And also, destinations cleverly leveraging VR for everything from pre-trip visualization to really immersive marketing. Think of it as test driving your vacation virtually before you even commit to booking.
Exactly. And when we talk about VR and tourism, we're thinking about everything from using a VR headset to virtually walk through a hotel room, maybe a cruise ship before you book, to immersive 360-degree experiences of famous landmarks that, might be physically challenging to visit, or even interactive games that simulate historical journeys. It's truly reshaping how we engage with these places. And this phenomenal growth paints a vivid picture of that digital transformation of travel. So, from roughly $6 billion in 2021, it's projected to more than double to over $11 billion by 2025, and then leap to that massive $43 billion by 2033. It's truly a global
Yeah,
phenomenon.
absolutely global.
So, we've seen the global scale of this boom, but who's leading the charge in this brave new virtual world? Let's zoom in on the regional players, starting with North America. This region saw its VR tourism market grow from over $2.1 billion in 2021 to our projected $14.2 billion by 2033. That's a nearly seven-fold increase.
Right. And within North America, the United States, well, it accounts for the largest share. We're seeing revenues rising there from $1.6 billion in 2021 to over $10.6 billion by 2033. That's a steady 16.692% CAGR. But it's not just the U.S. Canada also demonstrated robust growth, set to reach over $2.2 billion by 2033. That's an 18.463%
Wow.
CAGR. And Mexico showed similar promise, projected to hit nearly $1.4 billion, growing at about 18%. What's interesting is how quickly these markets are adopting VR, for experiences like virtual tours of national parks or city guides that let you explore highlights before you even pack your bags.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, moving across the Atlantic, Europe, a historically prominent travel region, right? It's also seeing a massive surge. Its VR tourism revenue is set to increase from around $1.6 billion in 2021 to nearly $11.5 billion by 2033. That's a pretty substantial expansion, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely substantial. And the United Kingdom in particular has shown strong leadership here. Its market is growing from around $275 million to over $2.2 billion by 2033. That's a notable 18.986% CAGR. This seems driven partly by innovative applications like immersive virtual tours of historical sites. Think Warwick Castle or the Tower of London. It allows visitors to sort of step back in time before even booking a plane ticket. Germany also posted impressive growth, projected to reach over $2.7 billion, growing at over 18%. And France is set to exceed $1 billion. Other European countries too, Italy, Russia, Spain, they all contributed with strong KGRs, mostly between 15 and 18%. So it's clear that established European destinations are really embracing this technology to, well, enhance their appeal.
Okay, now let's shift our focus to Asia Pacific. This region is emerging as a true rising leader in VR tourism. The numbers here are just remarkable. Its revenues jumped from around $1.2 billion in 2021 to a projected $10.9 billion by 2033. And that's driven by a truly impressive growth rate of nearly 20% annually, almost 19.65%.
Indeed. China's leading this regional charge, no surprise there perhaps. Revenue set to reach over $4.3 billion by 2033, growing at a similar clip, almost 19.7%. But crucially, India is showing the highest growth rate globally. Get this. an incredible 21.943% CAGR. Its revenue is projected to grow from about $156 million to a remarkable $1.7 billion. This kind of growth, is often fueled by a large, tech-savvy population and rapid expansion of digital infrastructure. We're seeing everything from virtual pilgrimages to interactive museum experiences being developed across the region. It really showcases Asia's dominance in, let's say, immersive tourism innovation. And other countries like Japan, South Korea, Australia, Singapore also posting double-digit growth over 17%.
Wow, India leading globally, that's significant. Okay, turning our attention south now, South America also shows significant momentum. Its revenue increasing from just under $400 million in 2021 to nearly $3 billion by 2033. That's an 18.478% CAGR. Brazil remains the regional angle, projected to reach over $1.2 billion. And Argentina is showing robust growth as well, about 19.2% CAGR.
Right. And in the Middle East, we see substantial growth, too. The market is expanding from around $284 million in 2021 to nearly $2 billion by 2033. That's a 17.7% CAGR overall. The UAE, in particular, stands out with its strong 19.2% growth rate.
Sure.
And you also have other rapidly growing countries like Saudi Arabia and Turkey. It really indicates rising demand for virtual experiences in these culturally rich regions, maybe leveraging VR to offer unique insights into historical sites or future mega projects.
Interesting. And finally, Africa. It's also demonstrating impressive momentum in this space. Growth from around $207 million actually in 2021 to over $1.7 billion by 2033, backed by a significant growth rate of nearly 20% annually, 19.55%.
And within Africa, Nigeria posts the highest regional growth rate at 20.32%, closely followed by South Africa at around 18.75%. This signals significant potential for immersive tourism experiences to really take hold and flourish across the continent, perhaps making previously inaccessible natural wonders or cultural festivals available to a truly global audience.
So, okay, we've just covered an immense amount of data, region by region, detailing how VR and tourism is, well, exploding. But beyond these impressive figures, what does this all signify for you, our listener?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, these consistent global and regional growth patterns,
Yeah.
they aren't just about market size. They reflect, I think, a fundamental shift in how people might explore and plan travel in the future. This raises an important question. What does this mean for how we experience travel itself, not just how we research or plan it? We're seeing a world where you might virtually try out a destination before you go.
Yeah.
That could reduce uncertainty, make planning more precise, or perhaps visit places that are physically inaccessible, due to geography, cost, or even environmental preservation efforts. It offers incredible potential for accessibility and maybe a deeper, richer engagement with culture and history.
That's a crucial point. Whether you're prepping for a meeting on the future of leisure, maybe catching up on tech's impact on industries, or you're simply immensely curious about what's next for travel, this deep dive should give you a really well-informed head start. This isn't just some niche trend. It seems to be a massive wave reshaping the very definition of travel and exploration.
Absolutely. And considering this incredible surge in virtual reality tourism, here's something to mull over. How might the evolution of these immersive experiences ultimately impact real-world travel destinations? Could it perhaps make travel more accessible and inclusive for everyone, allowing those who can't physically travel to still experience the world? Or will it fundamentally change what we seek from physical journeys themselves? Something to think about. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving into something really fascinating. It's the world of virtual reality and how it's completely shaking up tourism. Think of this as, well, your shortcut to understanding how VR is fundamentally changing how we look at destinations, experience cultures, even how we plan our trips. We're going to pull out the key insights from our sources, really help you get a handle on these big shifts in the market.
Exactly. And that's really our mission here. We want to decode the impact, the huge impact VR is having on tourism, sort of be your guide to understanding not just, what's going on, but why it actually matters for the future of travel. And get ready for some, well, frankly, surprising facts and implications we've found about this whole tech frontier, stuff that's already shaping things.
So, okay, if the idea of, walking through your next holiday spot before you even pack seems like sci-fi, our sources are basically saying, nope, it's here. It's redefining that whole pre-travel experience. I mean, imagine not just scrolling through photos, but actually virtual, stepping inside a hotel room, or getting a real preview of an attraction before you commit, before you book that ticket. What the research suggests is this isn't just some fancy gimmick. This kind of immersive stuff, it's seriously boosting traveler confidence.
Hmm.
Really helps get rid of that hesitation when you're making those big booking decisions, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And what's really fascinating, I think, is how travel companies are using these immersive previews strategically. It's not just, hey, look how cool this is. It's about fundamentally de-risking the purchase for you, the consumer. By letting you sort of pre-experience it, it tackles those worries. Is the hotel room really like the photos? Is this tour actually worth the money? It flips uncertainty into, well, informed excitement, which makes it a really powerful tool for getting and keeping customers, even before they go anywhere.
Okay, right. So we see how it changes things for the traveler before the booking. But what about the businesses, the
Yeah.
hotels, the tour operators? Are they just, showing off with fancy tech? Or is there a real, measurable return that our sources are pointing to, something that justifies the investment?
No, it's definitely not just showing off. The material we looked at really highlights that the adoption by the businesses themselves, that's a huge growth driver. We're talking tour operators, big resorts, airlines. They're all weaving VR into their marketing. You see it at trade shows. You see 360-degree videos embedded right on their websites, even popping up in traditional travel agencies, believe it or not. And these interactive experiences, they don't just inform people. They genuinely captivate them. They create these memorable touch points that really boost the brand's value. I mean, in such a competitive industry, offering that kind of immersive preview, it really helps businesses stand out. It creates a much more lasting impression than, just a brochure or some flat pictures.
Yeah, that makes sense. A powerful differentiator. In thinking about the market overall, what's pushing this expansion? Is it just that the tech is getting easier to get hold of, or is there more to it?
That's definitely a key part of it, yeah. The research points pretty clearly to ongoing tech improvements and, crucially, the falling cost of VR devices. We're seeing cheaper headsets, more apps for phones that can handle VR, widespread 360 video. All this is lowering the barrier to entry. It means even smaller travel agencies can start offering this kind of immersive content. And the quality is getting better too. Video resolution, interactivity, compatibility across devices. It's making VR content much more accessible, much more engaging, and, well, commercially viable. It's moving beyond being just a niche thing. It's becoming a practical tool.
Okay, so the tech becoming more democratic, that's fueling growth. But is there a worry, maybe something in our sources about, well, a flood of maybe lower quality content? As the barriers drop, could that dilute the whole immersive experience? And what other big hurdles is the VR tourism industry facing right now?
That's a very real concern, absolutely. And it ties straight into one of the main barriers identified, the cost, specifically content development and equipment costs. Look, to create really top-notch, professional 360-degree stuff that genuinely wows people, you need expensive cameras, you need specialized software, you need technical know-how, significant expertise. Without that kind of investment, it's tough to deliver the quality that, today's travelers expect. And yeah, a flood of cheap, low-quality VR could definitely backfire, turn people off.
Right. And if the content's expensive or hard to make,
Yeah.
that leads straight to who can actually see it, doesn't it? What did our deep dive find about consumer access? People actually having the hardware.
Exactly. That's another major hurdle. Despite all the buzz and growing interest, a big chunk of potential users just don't have VR headsets or compatible phones or computers. And this obviously limits the reach of the content, especially, say, in emerging economies where adopting high-end tech is slower. You can create the most amazing virtual tour, but if people don't have the gear, well, the impact is limited.
Okay, so cost of creation, cost of access. And I think I remember seeing something about standardization, or rather a lack of it. How does that fragmentation across different VR platforms affect travel companies trying to build a strategy?
Yeah, that lack of standardization creates a pretty significant challenge. The data suggests that formats often vary wildly depending on the device, the software, which makes it incredibly difficult for a travel provider to roll out a consistent VR marketing plan across all their different channels. That inconsistency definitely hinders scaling up, and it can just lead to frustration for users too, right? Something works perfectly on one headset, but is glitchy or doesn't work at all on another.
Okay. So real hurdles there. Cost, access, standardization. But despite all that, innovation is clearly happening fast. It sounds like there are some genuinely groundbreaking trends coming through. What's really at the forefront there? What's exciting?
Well, what really jumps out from the research is the integration of VR with concepts like the metaverse, these persistent shared virtual worlds. And also digital twins. These are like hyper accurate virtual copies of real places or things. The sources highlight how entire cities, hotels, heritage sites, they're being meticulously recreated as these detailed virtual environments. And in these spaces, people can actually interact socially, they can attend digital events, maybe explore a destination in real time with others. This is opening up completely new ways for the tourism sector to engage people and even find new revenue streams, things we couldn't have imagined just a few years back.
Wow. So not just looking at a place, but actually being in a virtual version of it, interacting. That's incredible. And what about using VR for things like cultural preservation or education?
Oh, it's becoming a real game changer there too. You've got museums, archaeological sites, cultural tourism boards. They're using VR to recreate lost cities, like ancient monuments, traditional ceremonies, and with stunning accuracy sometimes. This obviously has huge educational value, but it also attracts virtual visitors, people who might never get the chance to physically go to these places. It's genuinely broadening the reach of cultural tourism, often without anyone needing to travel.
And of course, thinking about the last few years, one massive trend, especially post-COVID, was the rise of contactless and virtual travel itself. Our sources had some great examples of how VR really stepped up there, didn't they?
They really did, yeah. I mean, with all the travel restrictions and the focus on safety during the pandemic, travelers increasingly look to VR for those immersive escapes right from their living rooms. We saw some amazing examples pop up, things like uh, attending a virtual wine tasting in Tuscany, or exploring the Northern Lights without leaving home, or joining a digitally guided tour of Machu Picchu. That whole period genuinely shifted how we think about travel, how it's marketed, how we connect with faraway places. It really cemented VR's role as more than just a pre-trip planning tool. It became an experience in itself. So yeah, to kind of bring it all together, the core insight, I think, from all our sources is pretty clear. As these virtual and physical worlds keep merging, and they are merging remarkably fast, things like immersive storytelling and digital exploration, they're becoming just as vital to the tourism industry as, say, flight schedules or hotel logistics. Whether it's for planning or education or just pure escapism, VR is rapidly turning into a fundamental pillar of modern travel.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? I mean, with these incredibly detailed virtual replicas of cities, of cultural sites, and this growing ability to travel virtually, especially after COVID pushed it forward, what does it even mean to explore a place in the future? How might our whole definition of what constitutes a trip keep evolving, especially when we can expand tourism without ever physically going anywhere? Definitely something to ponder as we move forward.